Newest 200 million blockbuster is The Grey Man, and the Russo brothers are coming in. You can see their inspiration has come from obviously their experience with all the Marvel franchise. Must have gone into this going, give me James Bond, Mission Impossible, and Fast and Furious all mixed into one. And they've really delivered with it. Like, all they've really needed to do in these high octane action sort of flicks that they've been doing, so like the Red Notice and The Man from Toronto, is they just needed the stylish action, and they just need that at least a cohesive story where they actually do deliver on it. It's like $200 million worth, and they've really put in the cast. Like, the cast is quite good. Gosling, they've got Chris Evans, they've got Billy Bob Thornton, and to my surprise, and I really feel like she needs her own sort of like role of an action hero, her like standalone, like she's delivers well, where anytime she was on screen I was like, all right, she definitely needs her own action film, was Ana de Armas. I probably said that wrong, but she was awesome in it. I really want to see her really develop, and if they were going to do a female James Bond, I feel like she would do really well, and I'd be interested to see that. I know she was like one of the side agents or the love interest for James Bond in one of the films. I can't remember which one, but it is really stylish. Like, all the set designs and the environment is really good. It's really engaging in terms of that. And just like the first setup where we get introduced to Six, and he's got to take out one of the targets, where it's all on the multi-level, and it's on the New Year's, there's fireworks going off, there's people up above, he's underneath trying to aim a gun. Like, everything about it was really stylish. They were pulling the camera, pulling the focus, and just that whole scene really sort of gave you a little bit of that sort of mystery of who Six is, and you can see how skilled he is. Like, everything in the environment he's able to pick out and make into a weapon. Fight scenes are reasonably good, like they're switching and changing, but there's a like half a second pause where you're like, ooh, that's probably needed that quick cut. I like how it wasn't overly all shaky cam, because the shaky cam in the Jason Bournes makes me a little bit of motion sickness, where at least I could still see what was going on, and there's multiple things happening all at the same time. And that first fight scene in the bamboo fireworks sort of shooting off, that was awesome, where it really has that set up. I like how each of the characters are not really taking everything seriously. So highly trained that these stressful situations, you can see like how cool, calm and collected they are. Some people probably will see this as like not like their delivery and their comedy feels forced, but for me it was like they felt like they've been trained, and they do delve into the backstory of how Six was sort of developed, and they don't really go into how he was trained, or like you get a little bit of information about how he was recruited and how his father sort of helped train him as well. But there was no point where it was like, all right, this is how he got to his life. Like, I know they have a little bit of dialogue in terms of this is how I led up into prison, and this is how it happened. But really heavy in terms of storyline for our characters. But the polar opposites between 6 and 4, like Chris Evans' character, I'm not sure what it is with Netflix, but apparently everyone who looks like they're going to be on like the PGA Golf Tour, for some reason they're the villains. Like, I really liked Chris Evans as the villain. He did a good job of being that sort of deranged in terms of sort of pulling the trigger and trying to blend in some really awkward comedy as well, which works really well for an agent of a psychopath kind of, I will do whatever I want for results, where the polar opposites for those two, and their like final confrontation remind me of like a Metal Gear Solid in terms of how Snake and Liquid Snake are on top of Metal Gear Rex and they're fighting, where it didn't have the same emotional connection, but it definitely had like the vibe of they're going to sort of test each other out and then let the other person do their sort of moveset and allow that final confrontation. The story is reasonably predictable. Like, there's no points where I was like, all right, that was a good twist. Like, I could see where it was all going. Each scene was like moving from one fight scene to the other, but each of the fight scenes at least escalated in terms of how much was going on. And I really liked how they're really smart within the environment. So there's like one point where he's on the train, where obviously you can't see all the people that are in the actual train, but he's using the reflections off the buildings to be able to see where the guys are coming, and he can shoot through. So it was like really smart. Obviously, the Russo brothers are really experienced with the action trope, so you can see how that sort of plays in. but I would like a little bit more of a story development, and I like that agency to have more of a like backstory, or a bit more of a push in terms of really having everything escalating for them. It's reasonably stylish, like it's a little bit offbeat. It reminds me of Django Unchained, where the music is very different to what's happening, where that blended in really well. Like everything is really stylish. There are a number of issues. Obviously the story is very simple. Like I needed a little bit more fleshing out. I needed a little bit more character development, but there was enough there that I was like, yeah, this is awesome for a 2-hour movie, and I'm quite engaged in it. Well done, Netflix. So like, it's an action film. If you don't like action films, you're not going to like this. But I didn't like the titles that were popping up. It felt like they were just generic titles that were just right in the middle of the screen. I would have liked just even the standard like CIA sort of police detective sort of thing, where it just types it across the bottom of the screen. That would have been better for me, rather than having the massive text right on top where it then faded out. But the drone shots for every scene location was really cool at the start, and I quite liked the creativity of how that sort of involved you into the new environment. But by the time it happened, I got more and more disengaged with it, and I just wanted the quick cuts to, we know that the locations are changing. And obviously Six gets his plot armor. Like there's points where it's just, they're shooting with machine guns. I know it's an action film, and if they were realistic, the character wouldn't have survived. But it's just, sometimes it's really, really cheesy, and other times they blend that cheesiness into really good action. For me, like, I really enjoyed it, and I think Netflix are going in the right direction for their action films. Like they're getting better each time. Like Red Notice was good, Man from Toronto was pretty good. Where this was really, I really enjoyed this film. For 200 million, maybe not. Like if I went to the cinema, I probably wouldn't be too happy about it. But I have a different perspective for action films that are on a streaming service, like straight to streaming service. Like, is it enjoyable? Yes. Do they fall into the action tropes? Yes. Is it stylish? Yes. But it just needed more with the story, where it was just really simple, it was predictable, but it's still enjoyable. So for me, it's 3.5 out of 5. And let me know if you're going to watch it below, and you know what to do. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and tell your friends.